Perfect, it goes red. Okay, you can turn that off. Next. 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 Perfect. Meetings go in this.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mark Brado, President of the Vegreville District Chamber of Commerce. I will be tonight's moderator. Before we get started, I want to lay out the format for the evening. We will begin the evening with introductions of all candidates, followed by the order of speaking. Each mayoral candidate will be given 5 minutes to present their platform, and each council candidate will be given 3 minutes. We will give a 1-minute warning and then ring a bell at the end of the allotted time, if need be. We would like to emphasize to viewers that all participants are socially distanced by plexiglass or 6 feet. If you have questions during the production, please email vegchamb, VEGCHAMB at telus.net. This will be posted in the link with any additional questions. Any questions deemed inappropriate or offensive will be omitted. We will have a question and answer period based on the questions submitted. We apologize if time doesn't permit your question to be answered. Upon completion of the question and answer period, each candidate will have an opportunity to give their closing remarks. Speaking order will be the reverse order from the opening presentations and will be the same time limit. With that, we will begin the introduction of candidates in alphabetical order. Mayoral candidates, Tim McPhee and Jack Timmermans. Council candidates, David Barry, Len Bullock, Justin Curtis, Mark Ham, Gerald Lemko, Margaret Michalchuk, Tanine Rudick, and Tina Warawa. So to start off, we will begin with our opening statements. Mr. McPhee.
Thank you very much, Mark, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Chamber for doing this, and so all the citizens of town can get a chance to listen to all the candidates. Because of COVID, we couldn't use the social center tonight. So, first of all, my name is Tim McPhee, and I've been a resident and a small business owner in our town for the last 33 years. I have recently sold my business, and I will be able to focus a lot more of my time serving you as a mayor. I have been a very active member in our community. I've been volunteering on youth groups, sporting groups, service clubs, and I sit on numerous boards and committees. I have raised my 2 children in this community, and I'm very proud to call Vegreville my home. I'd like to tell you a little story about how I ended up running for council. It was about 9 years ago, and I went to a budget meeting of the town council of the day. And I was fairly upset about a few decisions that had been made. One was the purchasing of the Trans-Canada building that had been sitting there for another 2-3 years after it was bought, and about the budget decisions. So I made my voice heard at a council meeting, and a member of council, somebody is a good friend of mine and I respect a lot, told me it's easy to sit in the cheap seats and criticize somebody for their decision making. And like I said, I really respected this woman who said this to me, and I took it upon myself to say that if I was willing to criticize, I should be more than willing to put my name forward. And it's not an easy job to do. And I respect everybody here that put their name forward today. So I decided I was going to run for council. And I made a commitment. And I was passionate about it, and I still have that passion today, and I want everybody to know that. When I first became mayor, the immigration center was just closing in our town. There was a lot of concern about what was going to happen in our community. Businesses were worried about where they were going to be. Schools were worried. Enrollment numbers were going down. And nobody knew how difficult and how it was going to affect this community. But our council decided that we were going to try to change the fate of our town. We formed a committee of council. We included the Chamber of Commerce. We included other groups in town and a lot of business people within our town. And we concluded that we needed to create some jobs for our youth and for young families. And we had to attract the same. I spent the first 2.5 years of my term of mayor lobbying 3 different infrastructure ministers of the federal government, 2 different governments of the province, trying to raise the money to build our new industrial park. I did not take no for an answer. Well, we have received the money, and we are building the park as we speak. Council has been engaged with different industries, mostly in the agricultural value-added industries, because no matter what, we are an agricultural community. And moving forward, that's the plan, to try to bring the success of this community, to attract more young families and to find jobs for the people that live in our community. I have been and will continue to be a strong voice for all citizens of our town. I have not once ever not taken a phone call or gotten back to somebody that wrote me a letter or an email. I can't promise that they all got the answers they wanted to hear, but I can guarantee you that I told them all the truth. Over the last 4 years, and the concerns in our community the businesses had about how they were going to fare, well, I think that we've never seen as many businesses that have been opened as it has in the last 4 years in our town. And, okay, thank you. There's a lot more that I'd like to talk to you about, but I only have 1 minute left. So in closing, I'd like to say, I'm looking for you to help me maintain our momentum on October the 18th. Please vote McPhee for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. We will move over to our next candidate, Jack Timmermans. Jack?
Good evening. This is my first time at politics, and I chose to run primarily because I didn't see anybody else on the ballot. And I think everybody deserves to have a choice. I didn't mean to do it out of disrespect to anybody. I think I've watched the councils here. Everybody's great at what they do. I think the jobs have been done well. But I want to come out and make a statement. The big elephant in the room is, of course, COVID. And my campaign mainly is about no vaccines and no mandated vaccines. Or, sorry, no vaccine passports. Let me clarify that, because those things is what divides us. So the last minute, the last 11th hour there, when I phoned the town and said, well, nobody's running. I said, well, my wife says, put your name in. We need to have a choice. And so I started putting pieces together. The hemp industry is great, but we haven't produced anything yet in town as far as hemp industry goes. So what I want to do is move forward with a hemp farm cooperative where we get the hemp farmers actually within the business. I think we're waiting for big factories to come up, a $200 or a $30 million factory to produce 200 jobs. I think it's going to be a long wait. The more we wait, the longer it's going to, there's going to be more competing technologies that are going to compete against hemp. We can't wait. We got to move forward. A little bit about me. I love doing research and development. I've looked at hemp for a long time. I lived in Saskatchewan for 10 years. I drove to Manitoba. I went and visited a cooperative there, farm cooperative. They produced hemp seed and oils at the very early stages. And then I moved to another company. I went and visited them. They produced hemp oil, and that was Hemp Oil Canada. And when I was there, the gentleman there, he told me, he says, well, the food portion of the hemp is great, but he says it's composites, composite materials, that's where it's going to go. So, you know, that's 6-7 years already, and now I'm starting to see other competing technologies like carbon fiber, graphenes, and it's a tough push forward to wait for a big company to come here. I think the hemp farmers need to get involved. So I question everything. We live in Vegreville, and we love Vegreville. I've known about Vegreville for 10 years because I come here and seen the hemp farm or the Indotech, and and we plan to stay here. We want to retire here. So I'm looking forward to work with everybody. Primarily, I ran because people want to choose, need a choice. I want people to come out and say, well, either vote for Tim or vote for me. And that's it.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, we will move on to our council candidates, and we will go alphabetically. So, Mr. David Barry.
Thank you. And hello to all those who are watching. It's unfortunate we cannot be together in person. We must not forget that a community's strength comes from its citizens. And Vegreville is becoming stronger and more diverse. Our council moved Vegreville in the right direction, to be on the verge of achieving growth and prosperity. And to change direction now would risk going backwards. So my platform is fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility has been a major theme of our council. By focusing on priorities, our council achieved cost savings while maintaining the upkeep of infrastructure and essential services. I continue to support spending controls, cost savings, and planning for the future. Economic development. Our council has encouraged economic development and small businesses by encouraging residents and businesses to stay in town and through attracting newcomers and new businesses. And I will continue to support economic development. Transparency and public engagement. Our council demonstrated transparency through open houses, forums, public hearings, and communications. Our council meetings are live streamed to you, the public. Improvements were made to the town website, Facebook page, weekly Talk of the Town broadcasts, all to inform you, the public, on important matters. And I will continue to support transparency and public engagement. Improved services for seniors. And this is an area that I definitely want to push. The current shortage of extended care and long-term care facilities is stranding seniors in hospital and or forcing them to go to other communities. I will continue to lobby the provincial government for more seniors extended care and long-term care right here in Vegreville. And I will continue to support family and community social services and Vegreville transportation services. Health and safety, or a healthy and safe community. I will continue to promote affordable, recreational, cultural, and social activities, natural areas and green spaces, and walking trails and activities are important for our physical health and our mental health. So I thank you and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, David. We will now go to Mr. Len Bullock.
Hello, everybody. I'm Len Bullock. I grew up on a farm just north of Vegreville and have lived in this community for 25 years now. I own a small business, you might have heard of it, Little Red Ice Cream Wagon. And I support my wife, Amber, and her business of 25 years in Vegreville, Hair Wizard. Together, we raised our family in this wonderful community we call home. I truly care for Vegreville and spend much of my free time volunteering within the community. I am currently the volunteer manager of the Pesica Park Market and serve as a member on the Vegreville Corn Maze Committee. I previously served as a board member with the Vegreville Tourism Advisory Board, Vegreville Regional Museum, and Impact Vegreville committees. I've been the recipient of the 2019 Vegreville and Area Citizen of the Year Citizen of the Year Award, and it's truly a humbling experience. Caring for our community is my platform. And how I'm going to do that is ensure good communication with our citizens and businesses to maintain a transparent relationship, listening to your ideas, considering your experience. It all makes a difference to everyone. I will positively promote Vegreville to attract new people and businesses to join our welcoming community. Promoting Vegreville through tourism, which highlights fun and the well-being for all involved. Positive events have positive effects on people and the business that surrounds them. I will be fiscally responsible by establishing budgets, future planning, and living within our means by getting the most out of every dollar that we spend. I will work to strongly advocate for our youth and seniors by actively listening to them and considering their experiences, knowledge, and new ideas. Age has no boundaries on this. Ideas come from everybody. I will address the social needs of our community, such as mental health, which is so important with any community. We all can make a difference just by listening and knowing where to find help when it is needed most, especially in the times we are now. I truly care for our community, and I am seeking your support. Vote Len Bullock for Vegreville Town Council this October 18th, 2021. Thank you for giving me this platform to talk.
Thank you, Len. We will now hear from Mr. Justin Curtis.
Thank you, Mark. My name is Justin Curtis. I've been visiting Vegreville since the age of 4 years old, and I've been living and working in this town for over 15 years. And I've also chosen to raise my family here. During that time, I've been involved in our community in different ways, such as playing for the Junior B hockey team, being part of the Kinsman Club, and also I was a volunteer firefighter for 5 years. And currently I'm employed with ATCO Electric, and I've been there for 9. My reason for running in this election is as it's the right time in my life to be a part of the future of this town, to help grow and continue to shape Vegreville into a vibrant, desirable place to live. My current role at ATCO is based on getting out in the field and talking with employees to hear feedback that will help improve life for the workers and the company alike. This is in line with the duties of a town councillor and ultimately should help me be successful in my goals towards helping the town. For the community is my slogan, because the community is what a councillor needs to focus on. You may hear some platforms make reference to I think this, or I want to change that, or I'm going to. But that is not what this election is about for me. This election is about you, the residents, the community. It is about coming together with the common goal of growing and enhancing the town. And the way you can accomplish that is by choosing the council that you feel will best represent you and interests for the community as a whole. My 3 main platform points are growth, inclusion, and sustainability. These points cover a lot of things we need in order to improve or to keep moving forward on if we want our community to grow. This includes a goal of mine to ensure the voices of the town are heard. This allows for fact-based decision-making when it comes time to vote on major issues or proposed changes. We want decisions to benefit the town and not individuals. Young families, workers, and small businesses of this town deserve to have their voices heard as well. They will be the ones that inherit this town in the future. Their input and ideas are needed in the town's growth and to keep Vegreville strong. We also cannot forget to meet the needs of the residents who have already put in the hard work and time over the years to make this town what it currently is. Ensuring our seniors have what they need to live comfortably and enjoy life is a necessity. My last point is around fiscal responsibility. It is imperative we review and scrutinize how and where we spend the town's money. Finding and addressing inefficiencies along with lobbying for federal and provincial grants is paramount if we want to operate within the budget and ease the financial burden on the residents. In closing, I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and remember to vote Curtis on October 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. We will now hear from Mr. Mark Ham.
Thank you, Mark. My name is Mark Ham. I came here 27 years ago with my parents when the Immigration Center came. In the time that they've been here and I've moved here, I've lived and worked in various different businesses here in town. And I've also worked for large companies and large corporations in the oil sands and other major projects. What drove me was to come to council this year and run was the fact that we have a major project here in town, and I think the skills and the skill sets that I have would be definitely beneficial to what we're doing. And for myself, I always think outside of the box, and just to be that extra sort of person that asks those questions, thinks outside the box, to make sure that Vegreville gets what they need in everything that's going on. The economic development is the other thing that I see. When I moved here 27 years ago, you could walk to the downtown area. It was a vibrant community. It's been nice to see all the development here in town, but it's grown outside of the downtown core. I think those are things that we need to revitalize so that the community itself can enjoy them, not just those with vehicles that can drive to the facilities that are coming here into town. And again, under fiscal responsibility, the way technology is out there today, we should be able to report to the taxpayers of this town in a lot more detail of how their money's being spent, and a lot more often. As I started doing my research for this, I was sort of just taken aback at what little was out there for information, considering the rate at which Vegreville is taxed and the amount of facilities that the town is supporting that they need to liquidate. Thank you. Vote ham on October 18th.
Thank you, Mark. We will now hear from Mr. Gerald Lemko.
Thank you, sir. For those folks who don't know me, my name is Gerald Lemko. I've been married to a wonderful lady for 44 years. We raised our 2 boys here and now share this wonderful community with our grandchildren. I have a commitment to Vegreville. In reflecting on my past term, I am proud of the accomplishments we have made. At the council table, we worked well together, and although not always in agreement, we supported the outcome. Building our future as everyone is key. That is why I would like to seek a second term in the office. Living in town for over 45 years is providing many experiences to better understand Vegreville. Whether 25 years as a firefighter with 18 as your fire chief, volunteering with minor hockey, or countless other organizations, I will bring a commitment to community for the next 4 years. A focus on growth. If elected to council, I will endeavor to maintain this and build on it, with future growth being my primary goal. I will be respectful to the taxpayers, the environment, and our local economy, and all citizens. It will serve important to us as we prepare for a common future. As a council, I will listen to your views and work hard for the betterment of the community. Council needs to be open-minded, encourage development, and keep Vegreville moving forward. We need to continue to pay attention to our infrastructure, town recreation facilities, our open spaces, and above all, meeting the needs of all our citizens. I will take on a project, give it my all, and work as a team member to make it a success. Vegreville is a beautiful community filled with wonderful people who have made this place their home. A place for business. If elected to council, I will endeavor to search out businesses and investment opportunities for Vegreville who will bring lasting job opportunities to our town. Our community has seen many improvements to its infrastructure, and we need to continue to have plans in place to better our road, water, and sewer networks. Place to live. If elected to council, I will commit to creating improved programs, clubs, facilities for your children to enjoy, and as a result, for everyone to enjoy. We're situated in an amazing location, close to the city, yet far enough away. We have all the amenities we need. That's why I live here and why people come here to enjoy a quality of life. If elected council, I will strive to ensure a community is welcome to cultural diversity and inclusion. I'll continue to be open and available to Vegreville residents and be mindful of the many voices and perspectives. I'm a practical, sensible thinker and very realistic when the time comes to make decisions for all. You can count on me to make those important decisions that support initiatives that are beneficial for Vegreville. This is a great town. I love this town. It's been the best place to live. We raised our kids here, worked here, volunteered, and retired here. I've always been involved and still am. I have the time to commit and be proud to represent you on council. I look forward to the challenge, and I ask for your support.
Thank you, Gerald. Ms. Margaret Michaelchuk?
Thank you. Good evening, and I would like to begin my introduction by commending my fellow candidates for all their hard work campaigning, visiting with community members, and listening to the needs of our community. I would also like to say hello and welcome you who may be watching online from home or listening over the radio. Thank you for everyone's support. We truly do live in a great community. My name is Margaret Michaelchuk, and I have lived in Vegreville for over 30 years. It's my home, it's my family's home, and it's the home of my senior parents. One of the main reasons I decided to run for town council was because I wanted the voice of our seniors to be heard. We need to ensure that our seniors remain connected to our community. I have found that our seniors have great difficulty navigating through our available programming and our resources. We need to improve upon this. They have created the foundation for our community, and we need to ensure that they are still well-informed and connected to our community. Being that we have owned a business along with my husband for 30 years, I believe I have the knowledge and the expertise on what businesses need in Vegreville. I think our last town council did a tremendous job in encouraging new business in Vegreville, and as one may notice, our community has been very resilient. I would like to applaud the women in our community who have taken the risk of opening their own businesses. We have many new businesses opening in the future, and it's amazing to see the new ventures in our community. We need to keep this momentum going with continuous support and making their concerns of our community, not only with new businesses, but with all businesses in Vegreville. Many of our members of our community value our walking trails and the beauty of our parks. Families can take children to the parks, walk their dogs on the trails, and enjoy outdoor physical activities. It's important to maintain and keep these areas in our town. Parks and trails are a vital asset to our community, especially during the trying pandemic times when mental health is being jeopardized. I want to end with saying thank you to everyone who supported me during this campaign, and I sincerely look forward to working with council and the mayor in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. We will now hear from Ms. Tanine Rudick.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tanine Rudick, and it is my honor to ask for your vote again as your municipal councillor, committed, creative, and cooperative. I was raised on a farm just outside of Vegreville where my parents were farmers and beekeepers. In addition to teaching piano, they taught me that to succeed, we must work hard and rely on one another and help others. After high school, I moved to Japan, and going from the farm to a big city was a big shock. Earning a degree in political science fed my interest in policy and debate, preparing me for future roles working for both the provincial and the federal government, and for this chamber. I wanted to return to a small town, and living in Vegreville was the ideal location for us to raise our family, as my husband Andrew continued to work out of town. Our 4 kids were active in extracurricular pursuits, which meant we also were extremely busy. As an executive on various boards like ballet, Ukrainian dancing, school council, school sports, and church, we were committed and connected to Vegreville. I survived those hectic times and saw firsthand that together as a family and as a community, we could overcome any obstacle. I felt it important to help my community, and in 2010, I ran for office and became fortunate to become a town councillor. Again in 2013 and 2017, I demonstrated my commitment to my community. And when the federal government closed the case processing office in 2017, it really hit this council, and it hit me personally very hard, how important the federal-municipal relationship was to our community. I ran for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Board to ensure small rural communities like ours would have a voice, we wouldn't be forgotten, and in June, successfully secured the role as vice president of that organization to continue that important work on behalf of you and this community. All of that brings us to today's many challenges. Challenges that I experienced myself or I've heard from you. People are feeling disconnected and disheartened. In speaking to many of you, I've heard what keeps you up at night. Financial pressures brought on or made worse by the pandemic, safety and crime reduction, housing affordability, mental health concerns, economic growth, or simply wanting to be heard. And I will continue to listen to you. I will continue working for you and bringing those concerns to council. And I will continue to act with integrity and positivity. I know our community can persevere through any crisis, and so can we all if we unite together, help our community together, and don't lose hope. I've demonstrated I can cooperate with partners to work together. My name is Tanine, and I ask for your support.
Thank you, Tanine. And finally, we will hear from Ms. Tina Rawa.
Good evening. I want to thank the Chamber, my fellow candidates, and the residents tonight for watching. My name is Tina Warava. I have 2 sons, Justin and Colby, and Vegreville has been our home since 2010. Last election, I told residents why I chose to relocate here. And I know it's been the very best choice for my family, and I want to thank the community for allowing me to serve as your town councillor. The reality is, this next council is going to face extreme challenges, both provincially and federally. The governments have been downloading responsibility on local municipalities, and at the same time, they've been reducing funding, and our residents are the ones paying the price. That's why we must have experience in navigating government programs, and that's where I can help. I've worked for 10 years within both provincial and federal government. I've sat on several boards, including chairing currently the FCSS and the Tourism Board, and my government experience can increase opportunities for Vegreville. During my time, I've always tried to stand up for those who reached out to me and bring their concerns forward, and I encourage people to contact me because I believe it's our job to represent what we hear. I believe more needs to be done, and now's not the time to stop. And I want to continue those conversations so that I know what Vegrevillians want for us. My platform's simple. I want to be your voice for Vegreville. I will be your voice for mental health. This last year has proven more than ever the importance of mental health supports. I've heard from seniors feeling anxious and isolated, from parents that are terrified that their youth are missing everything from friends to graduations or even the ability to go to school. I'm hearing from businesses that can't hang on much longer, and everyone's mental health is important, deserves advocacy. I'll be your voice for affordability. Life has become more expensive. Our seniors on fixed incomes, our struggling businesses, and our families are all facing rising costs. And the fact is that large provincial and federal deficits will mean less funding is coming. This past term, we consistently brought down our spending, allowing us to hold and reduce our tax burden. And we will continue. I will be your voice for safety. We face rising crime and, frankly, a failing justice system that is allowing a revolving door of repeat offenders. Our council advocated to the government on this, and we didn't get the best answer. It wasn't adequate, so we didn't stop. We pushed back, and the result was a direct meeting this summer with the Justice Minister. Effective government advocacy is going to be key. And finally, I'll be your voice for quality of life. What that means is different to everyone. For some, it's recreation opportunities or outdoor spaces or social opportunities or programs or just inclusion. To know what's important and what improves quality of life, you must have conversations. I pride myself in this and will always try to ask residents to reach out to me. I don't just want to hear your voice, I need to hear your voice, because what I hear is what I represent in council. This is my platform, and it may change because I base my voice on your voice. That's why I'm asking for your vote on October 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. We now move on to our question and answer period. Responses will be kept to 1 minute per candidate. So our first question goes out to all candidates, and I'd like to thank everyone that sent in their questions ahead of time. What new and innovative ideas do you have to attract new business and investment to our community? That is our original question, and we will start off with the mayoral candidate, Tim McPhee.
Thank you, Mark. And what ideas I have is the ones I'm working on today. I've been engaging with very large decorticating hemp businesses. I've talked to other industries that we're trying to bring into our industrial ag park. And just in general, when we encourage businesses that we have to show that we are behind them and we create an environment for them to be successful, what we can see is other businesses that want to be here. And we're seeing that happening again and again in our community. So again, we just need to keep concentrating on the businesses' success that they have in creating an environment that everybody can be successful, and it'll build on itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Jack?
Sorry. I agree with Tim. It's the grassroots of hemp goes back to the 30s, and it's all based on farmers. They took it away from them in the 30s and made it illegal to farm. And ever since then, you know, it's been delayed. I would like to see, like I said, the farm cooperative, where it's more of a vertical market for them to seed, to harvest, to process, and to bring a product to market. You can start small in that way and grow it out instead of trying to find big industrial players that want to come here. So that would be my focus.
Thank you, Jack. David?
Thank you. I think the most important thing to attract new businesses to the community is to be ready for them so that they can come. And I think this is where council has been working hard to make sure that we have shovel-ready lands for commercial land, for industrial land, and even for residential land. We have to be ready, and we have to be diverse. If you can't be ready for them to build and move in, they're going to pick another community. So I would continue with that sort of a push to make sure that we can attract the businesses that we need. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Len?
Hi, well, I feel that, consulting with other businesses within the town is a good idea to talk to them and hear their ideas as well. You always could take advice from businesses and look what's going on around you, and, just work with that. Ideas are important. Not every single person has the idea. It's a group, working together to come up with these ideas. And as we work together, we can look at new things and find out from other people what their concerns may be and how they think we can move ahead as well. So consulting with our public is obviously one of the main avenues for that. What do people want to see? What do other businesses think how they could expand as well? There's lots of good ideas out there. I don't have them all, but I'll definitely work as hard as I can to get them there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. Justin?
Yeah, a lot of good points coming up already. I think promoting within is huge. Showing off our town with events and social media posts. Social media is a very powerful tool if you want to attract anybody anywhere in this world. If businesses thinking about moving to Vegreville see prosperity and see how other businesses are performing, they're going to want to come here. And then again, to Barry's point, that shovel-ready development is also huge. If there's no place for them to start, they're going to move on. So being prepared in that respect is key. Thanks.
Thank you, Justin. Mark?
Thank you. Like the incurring theme that's been going around the room and with the industrial park, I think hemp is one of the things that we need to definitely look at and to bring companies in, but to make sure that we bring a bunch of companies in, not one big company, to have the diversity in what we bring in here so that we don't have all of our eggs in one basket. That's what originally brought me here to Vegreville 27 years ago, and it left. I'd like to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And we have some great things to try and be innovative about in here. We've got a 300-400 foot tower that is not being used. One is being used for the cell. There's things out there that we can use that tower for training, for high-angle rescue. That's a major in a lot of these industries now, is being able to get people down from heights. We've got the perfect facility to train.
Thank you, Mark. Gerald?
Thank you. I believe shovel-ready land is important. We have work on Prosperity Park being undertaken. We have a strong economic development board along with an economic development officer working behind the scenes to bring business into town, and a marketing campaign that we're focusing on attracting the opportunities for business. If you can look around the community, you see people are already investing in the town. Buildings coming up around us is showing that there is a sense of Vegreville's the place to bring your business to. So we're going to continue to grow that and see what happens.
Thank you, Gerald. Margaret?
Yes, I agree with all the points that have been brought up. Excuse me. But I also think we have untapped resource in our town, being that we are a small community with many young families. I do believe there's a lot of women in our community who have, like I said in my opening speech, have taken the risk, opened up their new businesses. And like we were talking about the downtown, they're opening up boutiques, they're opening up just smaller businesses, and it doesn't have to be always the big business. And so I agree that we should be looking at other resources and bringing in incentives and groups and seminars for them as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Tanine?
And I think in order for businesses to be successful that are currently here or encourage those to come here, I think I'd look at it as the fire triangle. We need to have the enthusiasm and the excitement as council and as a community. We also have to have the space for them to be able to develop, and we've talked about that. We have land for industrial as well as small businesses that can expand and support them. But we also have to have the opportunity, and most importantly, we need the people. So we need to be intentional about encouraging people to come to this community. We need to be intentional about encouraging businesses to continue to be strong. And we also need to be intentional about encouraging new people to come here to supplement the workforce. I think it's an exciting time to be in Vegreville, and if you drive up and down the street today, it is different than it was 4 years ago. I'm excited to see what else is going to come.
Thank you, Tanine. Tina?
Thank you. Well, I certainly agree with the shovel ready as the very important first step. And then I think that the biggest thing is that we have to be able to think outside the box, be willing to use every tool, new and old. Social media is something that some of us weren't quite ready for, but it is an amazing tool to reach demographics that we never would have imagined we would have before. And we also need to be communicating with other people. The fact is we can't sit back and wait for businesses to come to us because that doesn't happen. We have to be prepared to get out there and to go get those businesses. We need to create a vision by communicating with our community to know what they want, and then quite frankly, we need to take that vision out there and go get them.
Thank you, Tina. Okay, we move on to our next question. This is for councillors. Do you think outreach to other levels of government are a municipal councillor's role, or should they stay on a municipal issue only? And if yes, how can you do that effectively? So we're going to go in reverse order here. So Tina, you'll be up first.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess, first of all, I absolutely think it's our role. I want to say that I think higher levels of government outreach it should be part of our everyday thinking. We look at issues like infrastructure, we look at sewers and roads, we look at our taxes and our budget, and we look at recreations and programming. But the fact is every one of those things actually falls into some ministry, either provincially or federally, so we can't ignore that component. I would say that we can be the strongest advocates because we probably have access to those level of governments that the average individual hasn't had. And because the government has downloaded a lot of responsibility on us, most of the time without adding additional resources, we better be out there and definitely pushing those voices. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Tanine?
Well, I'd say that our role is to be advocates for our community as the level of government that is closest to the people. We've seen every day the needs that people have, whether it's a crack in the sidewalk or it's something more important. We receive our funding from the federal and the provincial government. 10 cents on every tax dollar is all we receive as municipal leaders. So if we don't work cooperatively, we won't get our voice heard. And when Vegreville has received the attention and the money to deliver the programs that our citizens deserve and our businesses need, it's when we've effectively communicated. We all have our strengths, and we certainly need to understand our role as municipal leaders. But if we don't know who to contact, we won't be heard. It is extremely important. Vegreville is not an island, and if we don't reach out, we won't be heard in the way that we should and people deserve.
Thank you, Tanine. Margaret?
Yes, I agree with the points that have been made. Of course, we are a municipal governing for the community, but I do not believe that we can go ahead with capital endeavors and infrastructure if we don't reach out to the provincial and federal governments. There's no way we could afford fixing the roads and making new centers if we don't go and apply for grants and reach out to federal government and fight for what our town needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Gerald?
Thank you. Yes, I believe we are advocates for the community. If we aren't, who is? As elected officials, it's our role to do what's best for the community. And if that means speaking to an elected official in a higher level than us, that's what we need to do. If we don't speak, we don't get. And you can see by the amount of speaking that has gone on, Prosperity Park is a prime example of that. As councillors, we advocate for our community with any official that we can get our hands on.
Thank you, Gerald. Mark?
Thank you. I totally believe in the fact that there should always be the outreach. There should always be that digging, that looking to make sure that the community is getting everything that they can. The government seems to always make sure that there's all kinds of things available, but they sort of tend to hide it in the weeds sometimes, so that it's not available to everyone. I think that as a councillor, my role and responsibility is to make sure that I get everything that I can for Vegreville and listen to everyone in Vegreville to make sure that everyone's heard and they get what they need and deserve for the taxes that they pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Justin?
Yeah, again, it's a necessity to lobby for grants and for funding from the upper governments, provincial and federal. You know, decisions made federally and provincially have that trickle-down effect no matter what it is. We see that with COVID right now. So we definitely need to push back and fight when we need to. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but also it's about cultivating relationships between the different levels of government so that we can have positive interaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Len?
I do believe we should advocate to the government and establish a good working relationship. It is important to have a relationship. You don't get anywhere with a negative relationship, that is for sure. You know, even when you have a positive one, it's really hard to get something done sometimes. But working together, getting the information out there to the citizens and getting the information to higher levels of government is important. We just have to keep pushing along for our community just to make it better as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. David?
Yes, thank you. Actually, the council that we've been sitting on does exactly this. We hold regular meetings with our MLA and our Member of Parliament, and those are exceptionally important things to be doing. And we lobby with them to get meetings with ministers so that we can deal with sustainable funding for the community, helping out to get our infrastructure, and lobbying for the needs of our citizens. And in that aspect, it's a very important area for us to be able to lobby for improved facilities for our seniors and improved health. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So now we move on to our next question, and this is for the new candidates running. So Len Bullock, Justin Curtis, Mark Ham, Margaret Michalchuk, and Jack Timmermans. Sorry. For the new people running, why have you chosen to run for mayor or council in this 2021 municipal election? What drove you? So we will start off with Jack Timmermans.
Like I said at the beginning, I want to see a choice. I don't want to see an empty competition against a important job as a mayor position. That's the main reason. The second reason is I want to address this COVID, vaccines and passports. I know it's not a, if you look at my ad, it kind of, I attack Tim for voting yes for mandated vaccines. It's not a personal attack, it's a position. It's more of a position that as councillors and mayor, I don't think we should be voting what other people's health should be. We need to send that back to the provincial government. Is don't come here looking for us to do their work. And that's my main reason to run for this position, to have a voice.
Thank you, Jack. We'll go to Len Bullock.
Hi. Well, I truly believe in the community and being involved. So when you get involved positively with people on different community organizations and groups, and you work together as a team, and you empower each other, and everything moves ahead. When you move ahead, things happen for our community. If you get people to work together and they see the result, they tend to pull into that idea and move forward. So you need to be moving forward. And that's why I care about this community so much, because when we work together, we get things accomplished. And when you see the smile on families' faces, just with stuff that's getting done, just like stuff at the corn maze. You give people something to see. You attract people to the area. They see the good things that are happening here. That means they want to relocate here. They're going to look for jobs here. That's a very good thing. So with establishing like shovels in the ground with Prosperity Park, other businesses opening up in town, like the new Petrocan, the new boutique, it's going to create employment. And when you have happy people, it creates more employment and makes people to want to be part of your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Justin?
Yeah, my reason for sure is my family. Making sure the programs and the things that they need are still here and are still vibrant in this town. Another thing is making sure the community that has given so much to me over these years is growing and moving in the right direction. I think the values and the sustainability plan that the previous council has put forward is a great start. It's moving everything in the right direction. And I want to be the voice for those young families in this town and the young workers to make sure that it continues going and it moves in the direction that they see their Vegreville moving as they, age and grow up in this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Mark?
Thank you. The reason I decided to run this year is moving back to Vegreville, having seen the change in what it was when I moved here, I wanted to make a change in it. It's hard to make a change or comment on the change if you don't put your neck out there and take a chance and things like that. Having had numerous conversations with family that, again, they said the same thing. You can't complain if you don't do anything about it. So that and a few friends, and here I am to make change and see where we can get and be the voice of the community that is the one that always asks those weird and wonderful questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Margaret?
Yes, having 3 generations of our family living in the community right now, I felt the need to run to make sure that programs and resources are covered for all demographics of people in Vegreville, whether it be seniors, whether it be someone like me who may retire in a few years, or my grandchild that's coming up. So that is the reason I ran, to make sure everything's sustainable, programs run, the commerce and economics are there for my granddaughter to live in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Okay, we move to our next question. Our next question is for Tim McPhee, David Barry, Gerald Lemko, Tanine Rudick, and Tina Rawa. What would you say is the biggest challenge going to be for this incoming council? And can you give one example of what you think needs to be done within the first year if elected? We'll start off with Mr. McPhee.
Thank you again, Mark. Can you repeat the question?
I sure can. What would you say is the biggest challenge going to be for this incoming council? And what can you give one example of what you think needs to be done within the first year?
Okay, thank you. So the biggest challenge moving forward will be trying to hold taxes without increasing them. We've seen our property values sliding backwards a little bit on the assessment, so that hurts the money that we take in, even if the tax stay the same. We have some challenges with the RCMP costing moving forward, and the province has cut our MSI funding, which is what our capital projects really rely on to get done, in half for the coming year and then the following year. So just trying to hold taxes, though the line on taxes with those 3 challenges up against it is going to be tough. It's going to take hard work, and it's going to take good ideas from council, and I like debate on council, respectful debate, and that's what makes this whole thing possible. The challenges are there, but so are the answers are there too. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. David?
Yes, thank you. I definitely have to agree that the tax base is going to be the most difficult thing, or the biggest challenge, with the economics that are coming after us and the lack of funding that we receive from the provincial government. But I think the first year, what really has to be focused on is development. We need to get the industrial park finished. We need to encourage more development in the residential area for Foxview Estates, and we need to get our commercial area, get some businesses going in there as well. That's one way that we can try and offset our tax needs, is by getting more taxpayers, by getting more developments. So I think that that's the area that we need to work on. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Gerald?
Yes, thank you. I echo the comments of His Worship and Councillor Barry. It's going to be a tough year with the budget, balancing our needs with our wants. The RCMP costing was a hit to us that we're going to have to be prepared for. But I do believe bringing industry into Prosperity Park and moving that forward in the next year is critical to our growth, and we'll see where that takes us. But it will be a tough and challenging next term for whoever is elected.
Thank you, Gerald. Tanine?
Second verse, same as the first. I think that we're all recognizing that we're in a challenging time. The federal and the provincial coffers have been stretched to the maximum, and it's a really challenging time as a municipal government. We need to continue providing the services and the infrastructure that people rely on every day. We can't stop providing those services to our citizens and our businesses. At the same time, as an organization, we need to continue to look at creative ways to be able to offer services in a way that's sustainable. So I think what we continue to do is recognize our strengths and find different ways to be nimble and provide value to our citizens and future businesses as well. I do think that the way that we persevere, though, is by harnessing the creativity and the strength of the people that are here and seeking other partnerships. I don't think we've exhausted those opportunities, and we continue to be positive, looking for solutions.
Thank you, Tanine. Tina?
Well, much like Tanine, it is difficult going last because a lot of this was said, but as I said in my opening, I already alluded that it was going to be extremely challenging for the next council, and I believe a lot of that will be because the provincial and federal government have proven to us time and time again that they're prepared to download additional expectations and responsibilities on municipalities. And we've seen it over the last year, and I don't think that's changing. And the reality is, along with that, they're reducing funding. So the first thing we'll need to do is focus on our responsible budgets. We'll also need to be focusing on departmental reviews to find cost savings where we can and be able to free up that money to help with tax burdens, but also to be able to promote Vegreville. So that's some of my thoughts.
Thank you. Our next question is for Jack Timmermans. Could you please speak on your vision for the town?
Yeah, it's repeating again. Hemp is key to the town. I was thinking of things like a hemp museum, something along the line where all manufacturers around the world can actually showcase their final products in a place where you guys, or the people here, wanted to see Vegreville as hemp capital of Canada. Let's start a museum where we can actually bring pieces in, and hopefully some of those manufacturers will turn around and say, hey, let's look at Vegreville, maybe we could make some of that stuff there. And I think it'd be interesting for a lot of people to see what the end products are.
Thank you, Jack. Our next question is for Tim McPhee. What concerns do you have for the town of Vegreville in regards to the provincial municipal sustainability initiative?
Thank you, Mark. So that's something I just brought up. It's going to be a huge challenge with the MSI, the funding. And we're just going to have to be very creative and looking at how we will prioritize our infrastructure projects as we move forward with less funding. We knew about this, it was coming in a year ago in last year's budget. We included on everybody's water bill a $7 charge for infrastructure, and it really doesn't add up to a lot at the end of the year. But over the next couple of years, it's going to help us stretch out some of the projects that we want to get done, not just want. I wish want was the real word. It needs, because we have some aging infrastructure in the ground. And if we don't stay on top of it, we can't take a 2-year hiatus because the provincial government is not providing that funding for us. We need to be creative and find ways to get to those projects. And that's what want the whole community to understand is that we're gonna have to prioritize with what the infrastructure projects are and how we're gonna get them done.
Thank you, Tim. The next question is for all candidates. With the new intermunicipal collaboration frameworks, how do you see working with surrounding municipalities to make the town of Vegreville better? We're going to start off with Jack Timmermans. Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yeah, maybe simplify it a little bit.
So the intermunicipal collaboration framework is working with local governments, i.e. County of Minburn, for example. How do you see that working to better the town of Vegreville?
I don't know how to answer that one, honestly.
Okay, we will then go to Tim McPhee.
Well, being part of the committee that was tasked with signing these agreements, it is challenging at times because everybody wants to hold on to their own little piece and their own part of the governance side of it. But I do see benefits moving forward, and I understand what the provincial government is looking at, try to stop the redundancy of the overlaps and try to bring us all a little closer as municipalities and try to share our resources. I think that over the last 4 years at the council that we have today, that we've taken that relationship with the County of Minburn. It's really the only partner we have in these negotiations right now, and we've improved it. And so moving forward every year that we can improve the relationship and try to make these agreements a little more solid and beneficial to both sides.
Thank you, Tim. We'll go to David.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we really only have the one partner that we need to work with, and that being MD Minburn. There's a lot of opportunity to work together to share our resources. We can reduce costs in a lot of different areas by not duplicating. We've in the past here gotten the county to do some of our road work because they are experts in that area. For recreational opportunities as well, I think we can collaborate and share facilities on that. We've been working on a master plan with them for recreation and culture, and I think that if we continue to work together, we're not enemies. We actually get along, and I think that that's the important part of it, is just to see how we can share things. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Len?
Well, I feel like working with the municipality and, the county itself is very important. We have to realize that we're 45 minutes away from Sherwood Park, and we're competing against them. And so we need to be attracting people out to our area to worry about our community and the surrounding area. So working together will help us get through that. Now, establishing a relationship, marketing the area together with the town, I think is a very wise idea, and we should really pursue that. There are many different ideas how to go about that, and just take for instance the corn maze, just the way it puts it into the limelight. It's in the county, but it's a town facility. Right there is one way of marketing and working together, stuff like that. That's all I have to say for now.
Thank you, Len. Justin?
Yeah, I think it's vital to see, what's going on around you, especially municipalities that are in close proximity to you, maybe have the same type of infrastructure, the same population. Talking and sharing ideas, to help reduce costs of things, learn from others' mistakes, seeing what public works projects have been a hit in the past, what have been a bust. Working together has many pros when helping with the community. So I feel it's very, very important to work with those around you.
Thanks, Justin. Mark?
Thank you. I believe working with the county and the surrounding counties that surround Minburn as well is definitely something that Vegreville needs to do. Again, like has been said, the redundancy of some of the things that happen, we need to combine and make more economical. Because for the most part, there's citizens in Vegreville, but there's also the surrounding community that we have to think of as well. There's the community that is here and that's supporting us, and then there's the surrounding area. And those are also things that we need to help them expand how they deal with the counties that surround them and pass on costs so that we don't do it just because we're a town.
Thank you, Mark. Gerald?
Thank you. Absolutely, we need to build relationships with our county members. It's these people who are part of our community. Our boundaries don't stop at the outskirts of our town. These are people who come and support our businesses. In the same breath, we support our county residents entering into fire services agreements, and that so we share a common bond with each other. These people are also the farmers in the area that build bales so that they could come to the community for the corn maze. We can't do that ourselves. We need to work together to create a sense of community. I strongly believe that we've worked hard with our neighbors to the east of us here and are continuing to build a strong relationship.
Thank you, Gerald. Margaret?
Yes, I think it's very important we work with the county of Minburn. Many of the people that live in the county of Minburn also have businesses that are in our town. They have children that go to school in our town. I think it's very important that we share the resources and all of the costs for recreation and everything with the county and build a great relationship with them. Because like I said, some of these people actually have businesses in the town of Vegreville. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Tanine?
I think the county is quite literally our neighbor. And the intermunicipal collaboration framework was a provincial legislation that required neighbors to talk to one another. And I think every time the town of Vegreville and the county of Minburn or any of our neighbors talk about the things that matter to our citizens, the boundary is imaginary. People belong to our community by virtue of the fact that their children go to school here, they operate their businesses, and they participate in the community. But most importantly, we need to be able to offer recreation, fire, economic development, solid waste management, FCSS, the Family and Community Support Services, the library, in a way that's prudent to both parties. It's not a case of us versus the county or them versus us. We're prudent neighbors that work together. And I think we do a better job than we did 4 years ago.
Thank you, Tanine. Tina?
Thank you. Well, it can be hard sometimes when there are different visions. However, I think it's really crucial because Vegreville is a hub. We're already providing services to many neighboring communities. And if we can work together in partnerships, we have a better opportunity to get some resources back for the town of Vegreville, and that benefits us all. I can tell you that this is something that's actually quite near and dear to me. I have some past experience when I was in my hometown growing up and then later became mayor. I worked on initiatives through the Lamont County called the LC Ready Board. And during that, we worked with various communities where we did enhancement grants because we would share some services. Or if a community went down like ours did, where a garbage truck went down, we had a shared resource that we were actually able to do at the town of Mandare. So that's something I've had in my past. I know the importance of it. And in present, in my role on the tourism board, we already are including other areas. We have County of Minburn rep, and we also have Mandare rep. And it is beneficial, and I want to see it continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Our next question is for mayoral candidates. We'll start with Tim McPhee. Many scientists, doctors, medical personnel, and media are saying that you should get vaccinated not only to protect yourself and your family, but to protect the community. With COVID overrunning Alberta's healthcare system and a portion of the population choosing not to get vaccinated, how do you intend to protect the community you want to represent?
Thank you, Mark. Well, I've stated many times in radio interviews and at council that I encourage all residents to get a vaccination. Right now, that's the only thing that the medical people in this province, in this country, in this world tell us that is actually effective for stopping the virus. I would encourage, or we already have encouraged as a council, that if you're going to be coming to our facilities, then we will be asking you to show proof of vaccination. And by doing that, I also voted in favor of our employees that work in those facilities to be vaccinated. I never voted in favor of a vaccine mandate. I voted in favor that we should have our employees vaccinated if they're going to be working in the facilities where we're requiring the patrons to be vaccinated. So I'll just start, and I'll always say the same. I'll encourage people to get vaccinated for the better health of our community. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Jack?
Yeah, what we need to do to protect the community is bring back rapid testing. You can vaccinate, you can isolate, but the key to get healthy quickly is to find out if you're infected quickly. I've had a friend of mine, he had to drive all the way to Camrose, right, to get a test done. I don't know why it's been taken away from us here in the community, but rapid testing is the key out. I'm pro-choice for if you want to get vaccinated or not. You know, you have a positive person or you have a infected person going into a bar that's been vaccinated, and yet the person that gets the PCR test is negative, goes in the bar, comes back out as positive. It just doesn't make sense. I think rapid testing for everybody, vaccinated and unvaccinated, is key to stopping the spread. And many times, not once a week, maybe 3 or 4 times a week.
Thank you, Jack. Our next question is for all candidates. So, given that the federal government, the provincial government, and several other provinces have mandated vaccines for their employees in order to provide a safe and healthy work environment, what is your stance on mandatory vaccination in the workplace? We're going to start off here with David.
Thank you. Well, I've answered this question a number of times in council. This is a decision that provincial should be doing. It's not a matter that should actually come to council. It's not our mandate to deal with personal public health. Although I'm not against vaccines, I'm just saying that I don't think that we should be mandating it. It is a matter of personal choice. But I would like to say what I have said before. The odds have changed. The vaccines work to prevent serious illness. And now that more and more people are vaccinated, those who are not vaccinated will come in contact with people carrying COVID and they don't even know it. So the odds have changed, but I still think it's a personal choice. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Len?
Hi, well, I'm vaccinated myself, and I do encourage vaccination for everyone. You know, I believe it works for myself, stuff like that. I cannot support mandating somebody get a vaccine. I'm not in good conscience would force anything on anybody, so that is my stance on it. I look and know vaccinations work for myself, and feel that they do. We've got vaccinations before when we were younger, so everything is fine that way. I just simply can't force something on somebody that they don't want. That is my stance.
Thank you, Len. Justin?
Thanks, Mark. Short for that wall there. For me, you know, again, I believe this is above the municipal level as well. This is something that should be directed by the federal and provincial governments. I do feel it is a personal choice, though. I think as long as everybody's doing their best to keep their neighbor, their family, and themselves safe, and you know, going about it in the proper way, conducting yourself correctly, that is the way we're going to get ahead of this. But as far as mandating that, personally, it should be your choice. It should be able to be up to the individual as to how they feel and what they think their body should be putting into their body. That's my stance.
Thank you, Justin. Mark?
Thank you. For myself, my stance is I have elderly parents. I believe that people should be vaccinated for their health and for everyone's health, but I'm against mandating. I do believe that people that are working in the public forum and in the public eye should be vaccinated because of their situation, but I don't think it should be mandated, and that's my stance.
Thank you, Mark. Gerald?
Yes, I don't really think this is a decision we should be making at any council. We're to be discussing infrastructure, taxes, and budgets. But I do strongly encourage vaccinations. I am a testament to the consequences of catching COVID and going downhill. I do encourage it. I wished everyone would take it. I morally can't tell you to put a vaccine in your body, although I wish I could. But I don't think it's my choice. I encourage you to get vaccinated, and well, hopefully the government will step up to the plate like they should and take this out of our hands.
Thank you, Gerald. Margaret?
It's going to sound redundant, but I do believe that it is not up to municipalities to choose the vaccination mandate. I believe it's up to the provincial and federal mandates. And as most of this panel has said, I highly recommend you to be vaccinated to keep your community safe, your schools, your recreational areas, and your workplaces. But as to mandating a vaccine, I don't think that it's at a municipal level.
Thank you, Margaret. Tanine?
Mark, if you could repeat the question.
Yep. Given that the federal government and the provincial government and several other provinces have mandated vaccination of their employees in order to provide a safe and healthy work environment, what is your stance on mandatory vaccination in the workplace?
I guess it would depend on the workplace that we're talking about, because I think that's a key part of that question. I'm a municipal councillor with immunocompromised, so I have MS, and it's extremely important to me for my family and my community be safe. Our provincial mandate, and we're charged as municipal councillors to provide a safe and healthy community. That is actually written in the preamble of the Municipal Government Act. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a lawyer, and when this question came to this council, we were asked the question about our workplace and our organization for our staff. So it's up to a workplace to determine the mandate or the requirement for their employees. There are many large employees, there are many large employers that have decided that for their employees. In this instance, there was a vote put to this council, and I supported the decision of administration to require vaccines for our staff to provide a safe community for both our patrons, our workforce, as well as our community.
Thank you, Tanine. Tina?
Thank you. Well, I think the question hit the nail on the head. The question was, it had said about other provinces and federal, and that's where it should be. That's where mandate should be, not municipal. I've said before that I wanted people to reach out to me and that I represent what I'm hearing, and that's what I did on this issue when I voted. Here's the fact. To date, I've received 47 emails about mandatory vaccines, and all but one of them asked me to continue to stand up for rights and freedoms. And to be clear, only 13 out of those 47 were from unvaccinated individuals, and several were from town residents that were town employees that were vaccinated but were scared to speak out. My decision, I always weigh two things. What am I hearing, which is clear what I've been hearing, and the other one is what consequences would the town face. At this point right now, I do believe that this wouldn't fall in our jurisdiction. If the province had mandated it, we would be following a provincial health order, and that would be fine, but they weren't. I know that I'm certainly not a lawyer, I'm certainly not a medical expert, and for the record, I am vaccinated and I have been from the beginning, but it isn't my choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Jack?
Repeat it?
Given that the federal government, the province of Alberta, and several other provinces have mandated vaccination for their employees in order to provide a safe and healthy work environment, what is your stance on mandatory vaccination in the workplace?
I don't even think I don't think any government should mandate any vaccines on anybody. I think it's wrong. It's pro-choice, it's your choice. And they shouldn't be passing it, like you say, down to the municipality. It seems like the upper governments are using us at the grassroots to do the dirty work for them. And it divides us. It divides the community, right? So, no mandates, no passports. Those passports are going to turn into a social credit system of some sort. They're using this pandemic to put all sorts of rules and systems in place, and they'll morph into other things. So I'm really against it big time. If I've had vaccines in the past a long time ago, so I don't care for this one. It's not even tested on animals yet. So no mandated vaccines from government, period.
Thank you, Jack. Tim?
Yeah, well, I want to thank everybody for being as honest as they could here, and that's what you're going to get from me. I do not feel that the federal government or the provincial government has done anywhere near what their job is when it comes to this. We were tasked last week with two choices. Either we went rep in our facilities or we went to a restriction program. We decided we were going to a rep program. So the people that come into our recreational facilities had to show a proof of vaccination. I voted in favor of our employees in those facilities should be vaccinated as well. I will not be a hypocrite and say that anybody coming into that facility needs to be vaccinated, but not our employees. What's fair for the patrons is fair for the employees as well. I agree with everybody else here, but I would love to see the provincial government or the federal government come up with better solutions than dropping all the responsibility onto municipal governments. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Our next question is for Tim McPhee. What are your thoughts regarding the escalating cost of the RCMP for our municipality due to the decisions of the federal government? I would like to hear an explanation of the funding formula for policing in our community and if there has been any progress in securing financial help from other levels of government to cover the $500,000 cost for the payback.
You better put that bell away over there. Believe me, this is something that I am very upset about. And I want everybody to understand that as a municipality, we have no control over it. We have no control over the agreements that the federal government made with the RCMP when it comes to the retro pay, which is around $500,000 for our town. We have no control over how many officers we need, other than the province tells us it's based on case files. And if we go to the detachment here and ask them why we have so many case files, it's around 9 local people that are building up these case files. So we have more officers than what we need. I know that I have talked, and our colleagues, Councillor Wawa and myself, met with the Minister of Justice, Solicitor General on a few occasions now. We've actually hunted him down to try to have more conversations with him. That this is going to be a huge problem for us with no control. So to move forward, we have AUMA is lobbying on our behalf of municipalities. FCM is lobbying on our behalf. But we are going to be faced with a bill come November for $500,000, and the lobbyists, these groups that are lobbying on our behalf, are not going to be able to have an answer. Don't ring the bell yet, because I'm not done. Because I did not get in this position to be told that I don't have a voice and how money is spent.
Sorry, Tim, I'll have to cut you off. That's our time. Well, we're moving to a question for Jack. So Jack Timmermans, can you tell us about a time in your experience of how you handled a situation that would show us how you would represent as the mayor?
I keep forgetting. A situation I've been in the past that would make me a mayor. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, an experience.
Okay.
Sorry, an experience in your life that would relate to you as being the mayor.
That's a tough one. I can't think of anything right now. Leadership skills, I know I do have those to be a mayor. I'm an inventory manager. I've been that for quite some time now. I can take problems, and look for the root cause of problems, solve them. I can rally people together in an environment where they had a bad system in place, look at solutions, get them to work together, and solve problems. So a particular situation, I don't know. It doesn't come to mind.
Thank you, Jack. So we're heading to our time here where we'll need to move to closing remarks. So we are going to move backwards from our opening remarks. So we will start off with Tina Warawa.
Well, thank you again for having me and for the great questions. Tonight, I know I was speed talking a little bit. Now, my friends watching are going to laugh and they're going to say tonight, like literally, Tina, that's how you talk all the time. But I did try to actually cut some stuff out. I just felt there was a lot that needed to be said. So instead, I opted to just go really fast and put it all in there. And the reality is I'm going to have to do that in the closing too. So identifying priorities is one thing, but telling you how I can achieve that, that's another. These are my commitments. As a voice for mental health, I'll continue to listen and advocate for residents, especially when they say that they feel they're not being heard. I'll continue to support programs like FCSS, continue to support tourism initiatives because I know it's vital, it showcases our community, and that supports businesses. And it allows people to see Vegreville as not just a place to visit, but a place to live. I'm going to think outside the box. I'll adapt our programs and when regulations change so we don't have to just cancel programs, we can proceed. As your voice for affordability, I'll continue to advocate for reduced spending and departmental cost savings reviews, which can lessen tax burdens. And I'll advocate to shop local. I'll lobby government for small and medium business supports, and I'm willing to advocate to higher levels of government to create funding models that provide additional supplemental resources for rural communities. Because here's the reality. It often costs us more per capita to do projects and programs than it does in urban centers. And I also believe that we need to advocate for a regional hub supplement because we provide services to many surrounding communities. As your voice for safety, I commit to use my experience in the provincial and federal government to reach out to ministers' offices, and I'm willing to volunteer to be that representative when we deal with those offices. I'll commit for stronger advocating for penalties for repeat offenders and additional resources to protect our residents. And I'll push for more changes on the police funding model because right now Vegreville is still paying disproportionately more for the services we receive. We're very proud to be a hub for many things, but our residents should not be carrying the bulk of the financial burden. And as your voice for the quality of life, I'll commit to writing a weekly post on my council page to make residents aware of the current discussion topics so that they can hear more and speak to me. I commit to reaching out directly to new groups before every legislative meeting, and I'm willing to allocate part of my roundtable time to making sure what I hear is shared. I hope after hearing me today that you're clear on my priorities. I believe in growing a community, not just a population. The reality is this. In this room tonight is your next council. If I'm elected, I'm committed to respectfully working with whomever sits beside me, not necessarily agreeing with them, obviously, because I believe that you need 7 voices, not 1 on council. And I'm asking you to decide who is willing to stand and be that standout voice when it's needed. It would be my honor and my privilege to serve once again as your town councillor, your voice for Vegreville, and I'm asking you on October 18th to vote for Tina Warwa. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Tanine?
Thank you. When I spoke to you earlier this evening, I referenced the conversations that I've been having with you, talking and thinking about the future. And I want to leave you tonight with a message of hope. I think it's really important. There's so many things right now that are unclear about what the next month will bring, what next budgets will bring, much less the next 4 years, imagining where Vegreville will be in 2025. However, my experience on council has shown me the value of discovering strengths, leading with compassion, listening to residents, and finding solutions. When I was first elected, our son was 2. He's now a teenager, and I kind of feel that's where the growth in our council has come from. We've experienced difficult times as a community, and we've pulled together as businesses, nonprofit groups, and residents. You deserved a council who cooperated with neighbors, the province, and the feds to find solutions that work best for our community. We've found ways to recruit and retain and support health professionals. When I was first elected, we had 2 physicians. We were in critical situation. We now have 11. And that happened by bringing important players together, having difficult conversations, and providing the support Vegrevillians deserve. We've gone from a housing boom to a recession, and now we're experiencing a real estate rush again. And this is because council, economic development, the chamber, business are all cooperating together. We're keeping each other informed, we're talking with one another and responding. And council responds too, with a supportive tax regime and incentives. We've grown so much in how we communicate with one another, deliberately, listening to citizens, and not just communicating out, sending out a monthly scoop in our water bills, but actually listening. Periodic newspaper ads and open houses are one way of communicating, but that's not truly listening. Having a really active social media presence, frequent newspaper and radio outreaches, and making sure that citizens know how we feel, but more importantly, I can hear how you feel, and make sure that citizens feel informed and encouraged about what's happening in town. And I talked about energy and enthusiasm, and we need our citizens and our businesses to feel that. Vegreville has grown from a place that was looking to appeal to business and industry to one that actually is. We are there. We have the vision and we have the energy to create a successful balance between economics and growth, and most importantly, a community people want to be in. All these achievements as a council weren't possible unless we listened to one another. This is a group of people with diverse ideas and experiences, and I am committed to continue that voice of reason and passion. I have the energy and enthusiasm to continue to look for creative solutions, and I will continue to listen to you, working hard to bring those concerns to council on your behalf. I don't have all the answers, but I don't need to. This group will work together, creatively creating a future that you deserve and our families want. I'm working hard for you today and for tomorrow. My name is Tanine Rudick, and I ask for your support on October 18th.
Thank you, Tanine. Margaret?
I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. I think it's a privilege to be able to run for council. I truly appreciate this community, and I would like to run for council to make the long-lasting change for the good of Vegreville. If elected, I look forward to being a good listener. I look forward to resolving issues alongside fellow council members. I look forward to working with the community as your elected town council. I look forward to what the future holds for this great community we call home. Our future is bright. In closing, I would like you to please exercise your right to vote. I hope you all had a great evening. My name's Margaret Michalchuk. Vote for me October 18th.
Thank you, Margaret. Gerald?
I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting the platform today, Mark, for your questions, and all the candidates for coming out tonight and expressing their views, and our mayor candidates. I'm supposed to try and tell everyone about my political platform as a council candidate, and it's not really easy to do that in 3 minutes or less. I've enjoyed my first term as a councillor and would like to seek a second term in office. I will continue to be open and available to Vegreville residents. I will continue to offer good, common sense decision-making when it comes to strategies for the town of Vegreville. Building our future together for everyone is key for me as a councillor. Living and being involved in Vegreville for many years, with the many experiences I've gained, will serve important to us as we prepare for a common future. I've always been involved in this community. My 3 pillars, focus on growth, a place for business, and a place to live, will be my endeavors for the next term. The most important piece of a member of council is the ability to work together for the benefit of everyone. My experiences prove I can do so. As I reflect on my past term as councillor, I'm proud of the accomplishments we have made. At the council table, we worked well together, and although not always in agreement, we supported the outcome. I'm a practical and sensible thinker and very realistic when the time comes to make decisions. You can count on me to make those important decisions that supports initiatives that is beneficial for Vegreville. As a councillor, I'll listen to your views and work hard for the betterment of the community. Council needs to be open-minded, encourage development, and keep Vegreville moving forward. We need people on council that have been involved with our community and worked hard to create and improve programs, clubs, and facilities for our citizens. That is who I am, and that is what I bring to the table in the next 4 years. As a councillor, I will continue my dedication to make the town a strong, vibrant community that meets the needs of all residents. I sincerely hope that the community will support me in getting elected.
Thank you, Gerald. Mark?
Thank you, Mark. In closing, I just want to say that a vote for Mark is a vote for change and a vote for questions and things in Vegreville and a vote for the people. One of the voices that I've heard is to do with the community policing, and a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from people here in town is that we should look at a town police rather than relying on the RCMP that we have no control over. That's just one of the things that I've heard back and that I think would solve some of the problems that we have. The RCMP seem to be able to have the money to build the nice new facility to vacate these lovely chambers that we're in today, but now are asking for money. It seems to be a little bit counterproductive in my mind. I think those are the questions that we need to start asking and go, why are they spending money and then taking money? Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Justin?
Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate this opportunity to be here tonight. I look forward to being a voice for the young families in the town, not only young families, but young workers as well. I look forward to challenging the norms and supporting initiatives that are important to the town and the residents, making sure all of our residents are heard. Inclusion is a big thing for me. Vegreville is a very diverse community, ethnically diverse as well. I think a few years ago you wouldn't see a cricket match being held out in the grandstands, and you see things like that now. So it's a great thing to see. And once we get past this pandemic, we're going to need cultural events. We're going to need ways to come together and boost the morale of the community. And those are some of the things I'll be supporting and be very much behind. We need to keep moving forward. Vegreville needs to be a place where your children want to stay or they want to come back to. We need to create career opportunities, a place where people feel like this is home and want to come back and be here to raise their families just like I'm doing with mine. We need to keep focus on important issues, between mental health, sustainability, and just the growth of the town overall. So if elected, I will work hard for the community and with my fellow council members. Work towards development of the town, from the small businesses to tourism. So October 18th, please vote Curtis for your town council. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Len?
Well, I'd like to thank the chamber and the existing council for having me and letting me participate in the forum. This is really a fun time for me. I will continue to advocate for our community. I will definitely be a good communicator for everybody. I have the uncanny ability to talk to people and get people to work together. I feel that's my real strong point, is just getting people to work together. We do it with positivity, and we do it with kindness, because that is the way we should be. Now, I will be fiscally responsible moving ahead. I will learn from my peers as well and offer the best support that I can in that way. I'm just a community builder, and I love to volunteer in our community. The more I see people helping each other, the better I feel about it. It's very simple for me. I just want to help the community, and I care about it. And any of you that know me, you can see what happens when I care about something. I don't stop. I just keep pushing and driving ahead until I get results. Some push back at me. That's okay. I need that sometime. It's a good thing. It's just as long as it's done with kindness and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. David?
Yes, thank you. I'd also like to thank the chamber and grateful for the opportunity to speak with you. I was raised in a rural community in Alberta and enjoyed the outdoors. And after university, I actually became a fisheries researcher and manager. I was a single parent for a number of years, and then I met my current wife, and we decided to move out here after I retired because this is where her family came from. And we thought it would be a better place to raise our daughter, Brittany. For the past 8 years, it has been my privilege to be on town council. Our council kept property taxes at a near zero increase and helped small businesses in difficult times. Development is underway, including the 75th Street Commercial Park, our Prosperity Industrial Park, Foxview Estates, and expansion of parks and walking trails. Currently, businesses in Vegreville are expanding. They're building, they're opening, and Vegreville is now on the map, with thousands of tourists coming to visit the Pysanka Days, the Agricultural Fair, our famous Pysanka, and our Vegreville Corn Maze. Over the years, I have learned that being on council does not come without stress and challenges, and it comes with a steep learning curve. Sticky paper. There goes 30 seconds. Ha! Should have memorized it. So I've also attended conferences for Alberta Municipal Association and Seniors Community Housing Association, And I've taken municipal elected office officials training, emergency preparedness training, economic development workshops, library trustee training, and principals assessment and administrative law. I currently sit in addition to council meetings on MD Member Foundation, St. Joseph Hospital Community Board, Vegreville Transportation Services, Northern Lights Library System, Vermilion River Watershed Alliance, and the Assessment Review Board, and Vegreville Corn Maze Committee. I have the experience, I have the training, and I have the determination to serve you and your best interests. I'm asking for your support and your vote to re-elect Barry so I can continue to serve this great community. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Jack?
Thank you for having me. I want to close by saying that the vaccines is the elephant in the room. The passports, I want to keep it out of the community. I hope council stands against it. I hope businesses stand against it. The mandated vaccines, it's pro-choice. I would not use any position in government to mandate anything on anybody when it comes to medicine. And we need to get the rapid testing back. I hope council, whoever gets elected, forces these guys to say, hey, let's look at rapid testing, not just the PCR test. Let's do it where you can do it once a week. That's the only way you're going to isolate. Is isolate. In the old days, that's what they did. They isolate. Today, it's like take a needle, get a passport, and they're just going to morph it into more things. It's an opportunity for control. And that's my message. That's the main reason why I'm here, is I want people to listen out there. The passports are nothing but a compliance mechanism that they want to push on us. It's not just me, it's all of us in the room here. If you look at China, the social credit system is in place, and they do the same thing. They use your phone. If you don't do this, you don't get to do that. And once they implement this electronically, we're stuck with it. And it sounds like conspiracy theory, but I've heard of things last year when it comes to COVID are happening today. And the alarm bells are out there. And federal government, provincial government, just continuously push it down to the grassroots, which is us. It's like they're legally, they want us to take the responsibility. But that's my message, is pro-choice. If you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. But I think that if they implement these programs where a passport person can go into a business, or you get a PCR test, both people can be positive, right? I think it should be rapid testing for both, or none. It just divides us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Tim?
Okay, before I start, you and your timer, I just want to clarify one thing, that I personally have no problem with the RCMP in this town. The officers here and Terry, the staff sergeant, do a very good job. I just have a problem having no control over any of the costing. And to Mark, the citizens of Vegreville paid for that RCMP station. Nobody else. It was all on us. Okay, I'm ready to go now. You ready? Well, I have a passion to see Vegreville live up to its full potential. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up and the last thing I think about when I fall asleep. I'm a leader who follows through on my promises, and I want what's best for our community and its residents. I am grateful that our residents believed in me back in 2017, believed in me enough to vote me in as mayor, and allow me to bring our community to its true potential. But I don't think we're there just yet, and I won't settle for anything less. Why should residents vote for me? Because just that, I refuse to settle for anything less than a thriving, happy, amazing community. The town that I know, we can strive to be. We are on our way. Let's use the momentum that we have created throughout these past 4 years. We need to continue to work towards our goal together as a community. We need to continue moving forward, maintaining our momentum. These are my platform for re-election. To stay the course and to continue to focus our economic development in town. To dedicate my time towards finding new ways to appeal to many demographics for improved quality of life for all ages in our community. We are no longer just your grandfather's sleepy little town of Vegreville. To continue to be a strong voice and a trusted ambassador for our town. To dedicate my time to hear all concerns and to use that voice on behalf of our town with our community's best interest at heart. To attract sustainable industry to our town, to breathe new life into our town's economy and developments. To focus on the heart of our community, which has always been our small businesses, building that stepping stones towards an environment where all our businesses succeed and remain successful. To keep unnecessary spending in line with other communities. I have a minute left. I am a team player. You can ask anybody that's been on council with me. I encourage respectful dialogue, and I appreciate everybody's opinion and their thoughts. And I will continue to bring that to this community, that there will be respectful communications among councillors and decisions will be based on the best interest of our community. That's what I promise. So please, vote for me, McPhee for mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. So in closing, on behalf of the Vegreville and District Chamber of Commerce, I would like to thank you all for attending this evening. You have made the decision to make an informed vote, and for that we commend you. To the candidates, thank you for taking the time to inform and share your insights this evening. Also, thank you to Country 106.5 for airing this forum, and to Vermilion Chamber of Commerce for allowing us to use their YouTube channel. Thank you, and good